Glad to be with you today. I'm Kevin Tanner. I have the pleasure of serving as county manager here in Forsyth County, and we're standing around in a place that's commonly known as Hammond's Crossing here in Forsyth County in North Forsyth at the intersection of Georgia 306 and Georgia 369. And you can hear in the background and you can see around us traffic. Today, traveling here, I'm here with Georgia Department of Transportation Commissioner Russell McMurry. We're glad to have him with us. And we were both late getting here for our time to film for you today because of traffic. We all sit in it, we all feel those pains. But we're excited to say that Forsyth County and Georgia Department of Transportation has some plans to do something about that. Commissioner McMurry, thank you for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Kevin, to talk about my favorite thing, transportation.
And congestion.
And well, congestion is not my favorite thing. Solving congestion is part of my favorite thing.
That's right, and you do a good job of that. Commissioner, we came in on 306, and we know that there's a big project underway right now here at 400 and 369 that's going to have an overpass over 400, and it's going to 4-lane 369 all the way through this intersection. But the other bottleneck that you and I just set through is from 400 306 through this intersection. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there's a design that's been underway to improve that interchange or that road. Is that correct?
Well, Kevin, this intersection of two very important state routes here in Forsyth County of 306 and 369, and yes, Hammond's Crossing, I know what it's called, has been a critical juncture for mobility for Forsyth County for a very long time. And yes, going way back, this has been on our radar and the county's radar, but we've had a challenge advancing it. And I certainly want to commend the county for playing such a big role in advancing the widening of 369 and the interchange at 400 and 369 in partnership with GDOT. And that's what we're here to talk about today, is that same partnership where plans are ready to work on 306 now, that critical link from 400 here to Hammond's Crossing. That's just going gangbusters, and growth even further down 306 as well that we know is coming. So yes, having those plans ready helps us be able to work together to try to advance projects like this. And again, compliments for focusing on mobility for Forsyth County in the whole, not just a city or a county project or a state project, but thinking about it holistically.
Well, Commissioner, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for both the county and the state being able to partner on these projects, and the county being able to have money to bring to the table and then leveraging state dollars. We see an example of that at 369 and 400. It's a true partnership with the state. The 306, though, what I refer to as the last bottleneck in this little area that we know has to be widened. The plans that are out there today show a 4-lane from the other side of Georgia 400 all the way through this intersection, which would provide huge relief for the commuters in this area. And I can say personally, as a person who travels through this area every single day, a huge relief for me and my family. So the barrier is always money. And we've talked about something called T-Splosh. And I know the County Commission has been working with the City Council and the City of Cumming, and they have moved forward with placing on the ballot in November T-Splosh, which would generate approximately $250 million of local funds. Now, one of the things that our citizens are interested in is the fact, how could that leverage more state dollars to help with projects? So if T-Splosh did pass in November, what would that mean for this 306 project moving forward?
Well, it means everything, because in transportation, I always like to say we're all in this together, and it takes multiple fund sources to do these big infrastructure projects that are huge, and the costs today are much more than they were a decade ago, and they're not getting any cheaper. So being able to have local dollars, if it's from T-Splosh or from other, helps the department to be able to put money forward to leverage those dollars, either at the state level, and now especially with the bipartisan infrastructure law, or IIJA is the formal name, with federal dollars as well to advance the complicated projects that we must deliver for the citizens of Forsyth County and for the state of Georgia. So bringing those dollars to the table jump starts the ability to get things going. And otherwise we're, have so many needs across this state. With infrastructure, it's the leverage of dollars that really make the difference. And that's how others have been successful as well. And we always enjoy a great partnership with Forsyth County. As you talked about 369, in 400, that partnership that exists today, and you see the tangible outcome of a partnership. But even on my journey here today from Atlanta, I can't imagine what 400 would be like without being 6-laned, but that all stemmed from a partnership with Forsyth County from many years ago that we're enjoying today. But that was the kind of a partnership and the example that can be leveraged to 306 Keith Bridge Road that we're standing at today.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, one of the things as we look back on what's happened in the past is we've had some successes. But I know as people watch us talk and they watch this video, some of the comments I would expect to see are talking about traffic, congestion, how the road construction creates a lot of problems and challenges. And we recognize that because you and I both sit in traffic every day. But transportation projects take a long time to complete. It's a slow process. One of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize is it's not just about creating more lanes, it's not just about asphalt, it's not just about moving dirt, but one of the biggest slow pinch points for us is utilities. Talk a little bit about how utilities play into like an intersection like we're dealing with at 369 and 400.
Yeah, just in this shot you can see so many utilities, and utilities are critical. We all count on them. We all love them, right? Who doesn't want to be able to turn on the water and have water? Who don't want to be able to turn on the air condition like today and have AC and heat in the winter from gas? And hey, we're all connected. Everybody wants to be on their phone or their computer, so broadband and internet that's running along the roadways is very critical. But that's one of the big challenges too, is we utilize the public rights-of-ways for utilities to lower the cost to all our utility consumers like ourselves, but they have to be moved. And the first thing we have to do is start moving those utilities before we can start the real work, the success that everybody wants to use the road. And I always like to tell people that I'm pretty sure you don't want your water turned off, your gas turned off, your electricity turned off, or certainly your internet turned off. At least in my house, you don't want to lose your internet, right? So we have to figure out how we work with all the utility companies and providers to make those adjustments while they still provide seamless service. And we try to minimize those impacts, but all that has to be done really before we can really do a lot of production work to get that transportation outcome that we all want of smoother mobility, of traversing the travel ways here in Forsyth County. So it's a big impact. It's a big cost often as well. And it's just sort of the unseen things people never talk about. Often we hear is, hey, we see that you've done some clearing, we see some barrels out there, but we don't see any work going on. Well, the first work that always has to happen is those utilities to get adjusted. So we have to ask people's continued patience as these kind of things happen, again, because we don't want to cause service disruptions to you as a utility owner of whatever the utility is. But you're spot on, Kevin. It's a cost, it's a big time consuming thing, and I'm really proud of how GDOT and now Forsyth County is working in concert with coordination with utility owners to try to make that as seamless as possible.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Commissioner, again, thank you for the commitment that GDOT's had to Forsyth County. And I think one of the things I'm excited about is through meetings with you and meetings with our planning director at the Georgia Department of Transportation, we've been able to get some commitments that if we're able to bring funds to the table through a funding source such as T-Splosh, GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, is going to be there like they have before. We're going to be able to leverage those state dollars and those federal dollars to make a huge impact in Forsyth County.
Well, we're certainly committed for Forsyth County's transportation investments that you intend to make, and that we intend to bring additional dollars to the table to leverage those opportunities, whatever may come forward in whatever form, such that, again, we drive Forsyth County forward in transportation, which is good for Georgia.
Amen. Commissioner McMurray is going to be back with us soon in Forsyth County in just a few weeks on October 13th at 11:30. Just down the street at Brownsbridge Church near Georgia 400 for the annual Transportation Summit. At that summit, you're going to hear all about transportation in Forsyth County, the partnership that we have with the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the plans for future mobility here in Forsyth County, Georgia. Again, we appreciate Commissioner McMurray, the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the partnership that we enjoy with them. And I would be amiss if I didn't thank Commissioner McMurray here publicly for the commitment that GDOT recently made to Forsyth County of $62 million for post road widening down in the south part of our county. An important project that's been talked about for years here in Forsyth County. We could not do that project without Georgia Department of Transportation dollars. So $62 million going to that project because of the commitment from the Georgia Department of Transportation. Commissioner McMurray, thank you for being with us. And again, thank you for your friendship and your partnership in Forsyth County.
You got it. Thank you.
Thank you.